Hi guys, thanks for joining again. So now we're going to do a video on using Google Cloud Platform and the firewall, the relevance of using the firewall and how we can understand it easily when using Google Cloud. So I'm going to go into my VM where I have an app running. So let me just do that now. So I'm just going to start the app, go into it by SSH. Okay, so let's go and have a look. So go into the app, which is in the folder TH Hotel, and fire up the app. Python 3, Thomas Richardson. Okay, so it's running in locally on the server. So the best way to demonstrate it, I'm going to go and access the server by RDP and open a local browser on there. So let's go and do that right now. So here's my RDP connection here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to simply just take the external IP address, put that into the RDP connection. Oh, let's just copy the wrong IP address there. So let me just grab that again. Copy that. Let's put that in there. So go there, accept the connection. I'll just log in as my root user. And while that's loading up, we can see that the app itself has loaded on locally on the local IP address 10.128.02, and it's listening on port 5000. So I've got access to the local machine. I'm going to access it. And I'm going to put in that part it's there already. So I'm just going to just click on there. And you can see the app is running locally. So that's brilliant. So the app is connected locally. Now, if I try to allow access to the rest of the world, so I'm going to access a browser locally on my home machine, not locally on the actual VM itself, but on a machine from any browser around the world. And I'm going to do the same thing again, but this time I'm going to take the external IP address, copy it here, and I'm going to do the same thing and see if it works. So let's HTTP. So let me just get that ready so we can demonstrate that. So let's put that in the browser. And it works. Brilliant. So now I'm going to explain now why that works, why it works externally. And for that, we need to understand the firewall. So let's go and have a look at the firewall and see how it operates with Google Cloud. So to understand why we can access the app externally from outside the GCP network, let's look at this diagram here, which I put together. So what you have on the right hand side, you have the VM in the black server icon with the application listening on port 5000. It's on the GCP network with a local IP address of 10.128.0.2, an external IP of 34.71.122.1.7, which can be accessible anywhere from around the world. So my local PC, which is a Windows 10, can access this application because I have a firewall rule open on the GCP network, which is allowing traffic coming in, which will be an ingress rule coming in on port 5000. Also, when you saw earlier, I went into RDP. I've also got a firewall rule allowing RDP. So let's have a look at those rules. So I go into networks and firewall. So let's just scroll down to networks. And we'll come to firewalls. Now, here we have the firewall lists of all the rules which we have. The one which is most interesting for us is the Flask app, which is allowed from anywhere around the world. So 0.00 /0. That represents any source IP address using the TC port 5000 going out, and it's applied to the default network. So if you remember, my VM is actually in the default network. So that address allows myself and anybody else I wish to give that address to access the app here. So likewise, if I delete this address, so let's just try to delete it. Hit delete here. Okay, so now the rule has been deleted. It's no longer there. Let's go to the app. We can do a refresh. So just to confirm, it is no longer available, that access to the app. So what I'm going to do, I'm now going to recreate that firewall rule. So I go to create firewall rule. And I come to the configuration of creating a new firewall rule. So let me just create one now. So Flask App. I'll go down. I can put logs on if I really want to do some checking of connections, but at this moment I don't need to. Priority is 1000. You can leave that as default. Obviously, you can use priority. A lower number means higher priority. So if the rule is really important, you can put it between 0 and 10. Direction of traffic. So now this is Google Cloud's terminology. Ingress from the point of view of the server in the Google Cloud environment ingress will be incoming. So the rule is traffic coming into the server. So we're going to use the ingress. We're going to allow, and then here, so let's just have a check here. So all instances on the network, which is the default network, source IP4. Now I can hone it down to a specific source address, but I'm just going to do it open for every source address imaginable. Not great is security, but for this example, it proves what we want to achieve. So that's, I'm not going to allow everything, and I'm just going to specify TCP 5000 because my app is listening on that port, TCP 5000. And I'm going to create. So it's now creating the rule. Takes a minute or two just to create. And let's just see if that comes up. If that's coming up, providing the server hasn't changed its IP address, we should now be able to access the application again from an external source. And on top of that, from any external source. So there we are. There's the rule in place again. Now I'm going to try to access it. So I've got the address already there, going out on port 5000. And there you go, access available. So that all works perfectly. And as I demonstrated before as well, RDP, I use my RDP connection. There's the RDP access to the server. That's working because we've got this rule here, RDP doing the same thing from any source point going out on 3389 to the server, which is based in the default network. Okay, so that is a simple understanding on how to use the firewall in GCP. Just remember, any server which is in the GCP network is behind a central firewall, and then you're going to have to open ingress rules to allow the traffic coming in. It's a good idea if you're using something specific to do a web search to see what ports are being used. So we know that RDP, for instance, uses 3389. POP3 mail is 110. SMTP emails is 25. So if you've got something specific, check the port, and then you can make the firewall rule in accordance with that. So that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've got any questions, please leave a message in the comments below. Please subscribe and hit the like button if you enjoyed it. For now, I'll leave that with as it is, and we can have another look at GCP in the next video. Thank you.